This is Oscar Bevis for the Stomping Ground, powered by Wow Hydrate and available on the zone. Apologies that I'm a little bit croaky. I was trying to make myself heard amongst 97,000 people. Sam Jones joins me, mate.
Singing cigarettes and alcohol.
Yeah, at the top of my voice as well. Sam, first things, how are you? And secondly, how on earth do you reflect on Saturday night?
Uh, I'm really good, Oscar. To be honest, I was a little, I was sad to be honest with you because it's not nice to see somebody like Joshua, like the stature that he has, like face down, it wasn't nice, but it was it was drama. This is what we love the sport for because when heavyweights and I said this, listen, I predicted AJ would win the fight, but if you listen to every interview I says do not write off Daniel Dubois because I think that he's going to come out like a bull, like a china shop, and if he lands on Joshua, there's going to be problems, and he did that in the first round. Just think it was just like we was all because you were sat next to me, weren't you, Oscar, with Parsons, and we were all kind of like you know that gif of that guy, and we were all just like we didn't we were all like fucking speechless, weren't we? Because we were all taken back what's happened. But when you can carry power like Daniel Dubois, and like what I said, he's got confidence now, Daniel. I always said it's not to do with Daniel having no bollocks or anything like that. It's all to do with between Daniel's ears. And something seems to have clicked. And listen, you can't give Don Charles any more credit than what I have done because I just think what he's done with Daniel is completely transform him. So all you can do is just applaud Daniel Dubois in that situation because he took a lot of stick after the Joe Joyce fight. He took a hell of a lot of stick, and like what I said, Frank Warren, it's the best promotional job ever in my opinion, or if not, it's in the top two or three best promotional jobs ever with a fighter because he could have given up with Daniel. He really could. He could have given up with Daniel. Remember when he got dropped with Lorena as well? He kind of looked like, what are you going to do with Daniel Dubois here? He's getting dropped by cruiserweights. And now he just looks like, listen, he looked like a 6'5" Mike Tyson in there. Daniel Dubois, he did. I thought his playlist was brilliant as well. Someone's got a great chase because I know Daniel did not choose them tracks. So whoever's picked his music knows their shit because that was a brilliant ring walk. It was just great. It was a great performance from Daniel Dubois. So you just got to like tip your hat to him and just like applaud him and the team. They've done an outstanding job with him. But as for AJ, yeah, it was sad. I was gutted because I'm an AJ fan, so it was gutting.
Yeah, it was a brilliant night for Daniel. And before we talk about the actual fight a little bit more, the 97,000, very pro AJ. And I guess you can say rightly so. Even Frank Warren said, I understand it.
Yeah,
You think Daniel can build something close to what AJ has built in terms of that
I
mega
said this.
structure?
You have to understand Joshua and the Tyson Fury. They're freaks of nature, Oscar. The people don't understand. Like, I'm not saying this to downplay Daniel Dubois because the same thing would have happened if most other fighters had done that to Daniel Dubois in the heavyweight division. Most others. It's not as simple as Dubois beaten AJ, so now Dubois can be a headliner at a stadium. It don't work like that. Joshua is a commercial freak. Tyson Fury is a commercial freak. Like it just doesn't work like that. It will take years to build. But Daniel, listen, like when he said, "Oh, are you entertained?" He's doing good, Daniel. Because look, it's not a secret that Daniel's not he's not the sharpest in front of a camera, right? But he's carried himself brilliantly, Daniel Dubois. He really has. He's just been brilliant all week. He was hilarious. I think he doesn't try to be, but he was very funny at the press conference. He was just no nonsense. But like I say, something's just kind of clicked in his head, which is obviously down to the team he has around him that's enabled him to look like the Daniel Dubois pre-Joe Joyce, where he was destroying everybody. He's kind of picked up where he's left off there and just took it to a whole new level. And like what I keep saying, I can't give him any more praise. I can't give Frank Warren any more praise. George, everyone that's backed him has done amazing. So wow, it was brilliant. It was brilliant. The whole thing.
Yeah, I really hope that the British public do jump on that Daniel Dubois train. In terms of the first round, and in fact the second and third round, it felt like if there was 30 more seconds in every round, then Daniel probably could have finished the fight in every round.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert, but when it was happening, I was just thinking, just hold him. I was like shouting the top of my lungs. Like, I was like, just hold him, spoil it. Like, just wrestle him. Do something to take the steam out of Daniel Dubois for a couple of rounds so AJ can try to regain his legs and his composure. But I just think that everyone keeps saying, oh, how poor AJ was. AJ had his chin in the air, right? And you can't do that, especially so early on with Daniel Dubois. And Daniel Dubois copped him in the first round. And I said to you, Parsons, everyone, I was like, fight's over. The fight's over, because you could just see when he was coming back out, his legs were gone. And he was fighting on instinct. And by the way, what a set of bollocks Anthony Joshua's got, because was doing all the wrong things, but he was just like what a lot of fighters do say, don't they? Like, oh yeah, I'd rather be stretching. Joshua meant it there, because he came out and just thought, listen, if you're going to do me, you're going to have to do me. You're going to have to staple me here. And obviously it ended up happening, but huge pair of bollocks for Anthony Joshua. Huge pair of bollocks. I mean, I see a rematch happening. I do. I think the rematch will be massive. And I think it's kind of going to be not the make or break, because Joshua's achieved everything in boxing. But I mean, like, if he doesn't beat Daniel Dubois, where does he kind of go? He's achieved everything in boxing. But yeah, I would like to see the rematch. And also, people can say, oh, Daniel Dubois should move on to bigger and better things. And there's no bigger fight than Anthony Joshua. It's the biggest commercial fight. It's the biggest fight for him financially. I'd like to see it again, because it's a firefight. It's never going to be anything other than a firefight. Someone's getting knocked out in 6 rounds. I've been saying it all week. I thought AJ was going to be the one knocking him out, but I knew the fight weren't going to go past 6, 7 rounds. I knew it.
Yeah. What do you make of AJ like going like that, smashing his chest at point, sticking his tongue out whilst it was kind of all unraveling?
Because he was like, you heard him saying, this is what we live for. This is what he's a warrior, AJ. There's no like quit in him. There's no like, I'm gonna bottle it. I'm just gonna take a knee, or I'm just gonna. He went out there to try and get Dubois, and he did it. And he was swinging until he couldn't swing anymore. And look, ultimately, like I say, I wish he would have just kind of grabbed hold of Daniel and spoiled it for 2 rounds. Just basically regain your composure. But he went there and fought fire with fire, and he came out second best. So, but no, I don't think that's the end of Anthony Joshua. I think, look, it's like when we'll talk about Warrington for a minute. It was like a bit of it's sad. During fighters that it's like we've all watched like Warrington filling up the Leeds arena. That's probably going to be, it might be the end of Josh Warrington. AJ, look, getting knocked out. Like, it's kind of like a changing of the guard kind of times, isn't it? Like end of kind of an era. But I still think there's more left to give with Anthony Joshua. I think he lives the right life. I think that he just got caught in the first round. It was a mistake on his part, but shit happens. It's the heavyweight division. That Dubois, like what I said to everybody that would listen, if he hits you on the chops, and you let him do that, he's putting everybody on the floor, not just Anthony Joshua. He would put anybody on the floor. So, but look, this is heavyweight boxing. That's why there was 96,000 people there, because people are just heavyweight boxing. It's the most exciting when it's like that. It's the most exciting division in boxing.
Yeah. What heavyweights do you think go in as favourite against Daniel Dubois now?
Usyk again. I think Martin Bakole would be a favourite against Daniel Dubois, but not as much as a favourite what he would be, since obviously you've seen the new kind of Dubois 2.0 kind of thing. I think it's a really good fight. I think that's the fight to make, Bakole against Daniel Dubois, if the AJ fight doesn't happen. But because that's just fucking carnage, isn't it? That is just two absolute monsters just colliding. But I say Bakole's massive, isn't he? But yeah, I just think if you want to see car crash television, Dubois against Bakole's the fight to make.
Yeah, that'll be one that I'll be watching from behind my hands. You mentioned Liam Gallagher. There was something you said to me that gave you good memories, because Josh Taylor walked out to one of the songs Liam played
Yeah,
it,
I reckon.
and I
Listen,
feel flashed back to a good night for you.
Yeah, I'm not gonna claim to be some massive Oasis fan, but I've got it on my playlist. You know what I mean? I like Oasis, but I'm not some die-hard fan. Like, oh, I've got to get tickets. Like, if I got tickets, I'd probably give them to someone who loves them the most. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So when that song came on, Cigarettes and Alcohol, I just thought that song Josh Taylor came out to, because I remember him coming out thinking, that's a banger, that is. But I didn't want to say it while I was on the canvas of when Josh Taylor was walking to the ring second against Jack Catterall. I was thinking, what a tune to come out to. So yeah, it did bring back some memories.
Little flashback to a good night. Sam, also something that I heard is that John Fury approached you. I'm not sure if it was in a hotel or potentially backstage, and I heard that you stood your ground as well.
Uh, um, yeah, I think that there was quite a few people in this corridor, and it obviously took me out of surprise because I I had said hello to him before this happened, and he was like, "You're right, yeah." He was being like sound. I don't know, like it was the whole thing was weird, right? But I'd seen Shane Fury having a great chat with Shane, and then as I was leaving, I just heard this voice, and I was like, "Get out! What's that?" And it was John Fury, just like come in, and he kind of got. Listen, I don't want to make some big deal of what happened. He kind of like stood very close to me as he does, because again, he's a huge man. Like people don't understand this. I'm 5 foot. I would say 5'11", but people are going to go, really, it's 5'10" or what? But I'm not a midget like what people like to think I am. I think it's just because I've stood around Joe Joyce for a long time. People look at me and think I'm a Lord of the Rings character. But to John Fury, he dwarfs most people. So obviously I'm looking up, and this huge man, and his hands look like a fucking bunch of bananas. One fist is like that, yeah. And he's like stood right in my face, and he's just gone, "I heard your videos," and I was like, "Oh, like what videos?" And he goes, I was like, just kind of like got, and I was just like more confused, like to be worried about whether he's going to throttle me or not. I was like, "What's he talking about?" And he said, trying to remember exactly word for word. Like I had loads of people there, so they'll all give you a recollection. But the gospel truth is, he just said, "Oh, you said I don't know anything about boxing," and I went, "Well, I fucking didn't say that, because one, I do think you know something about boxing. You produced one of the best heavyweights of our generation." But I never said this to him. But I was just thinking, I didn't say that, John. And I said, "Show me the fucking interview of where I said you don't know anything about boxing." What I said and I remember very clearly, Tyson don't need to be having all them ears in his corner. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. And I stand on it. And when he goes, "Yeah, you said I don't know anything about boxing," I never said that, John. I said Tyson don't need all those cooks in one kitchen. And I stand by what I said, and that's my opinion, and I won't change it. And he walked off and just goes, "Oh, I'm warning you." And I don't know. It was a weird encounter, a very, very close encounter with a very big man. But yeah, that's up to John. John's going to be John, but I'm not changing my opinion. I do believe Tyson Fury should have one voice in his ear, or two at the most. But I just think that's my opinion. But it's not that I don't think John Fury knows anything about boxing. He clearly does. But I just think that all them ears in Tyson Fury it wasn't productive. That's all what happened, really. It is what it is. John Fury's going to be John Fury. He's a proud kind of guy, isn't he? But yeah, it's not what I was expecting. Walking to when just before I was going to walk to Wembley Way to enjoy a good night of boxing is a very, very large man charging towards me. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, well, you're a better man than me to stand on what you said with John
Yeah,
face.
because I was thinking, look, if John Fury like cracks me one, I'm either gonna die or I'm gonna slip it and like get away with it. Do you know what I mean? So I wasn't really fearful of my life, to be honest with you. I was just thinking, well, look, if he decks me one, he does, doesn't he? Here's
Do you
what
know
it
what
is.
we had? I'm not going to say a similar scenario because I can't remember exactly what was said, but I remember when he approached Carl Frampton and there was quite a lot of cameras there because something Carl said, I believe, about Tommy Fury.
Yeah,
I guess just someone who's quite defensive over things that
I just think, look, right. Everybody in boxing is open. You're open to criticism, aren't you? But I wasn't criticized. It was more of the scenario. Like I just thought that Tyson shouldn't have all them ears, all them voices in his head. And I would say that to Tyson. I would say it to him. But it's my opinion. If no one cares about my opinion, no one cares about my opinion. But like he's clearly watched a video, but he's just like said something that I didn't say. I never said John Fury doesn't know anything about boxing, which is what he said I said. I never said that. I just said that he shouldn't have all them voices in the corner. That's just my opinion, and I won't change that just again because John Fury's very angrily stood in front of me. It's up to him. John's a proud guy, isn't he? He's a proud guy. not I wouldn't call him an emotional guy. So I'm sure he charged towards me again like a tyrannosaurus. But like he was it is what it is, isn't it? It's just my opinion. Everyone's got opinions, and I just think that's boxing, isn't it? You're gonna be everyone's got opinions, haven't they? Everyone's got opinions.
Yeah, yeah, it'd be boring if none of us had opinions or we all had the same one. Just to
Yeah.
finish, a point on Tyson Fury now, with the rematch coming up in December, if there's a scenario where Tyson is to lose for a second time to Oleksandr Usyk, how big is the Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury fight in comparison
It would
to
still sell the
we could
stadium
have?
out. People will say it's not going to, but I'm telling you, if Tyson Fury throws hands with Anthony Joshua, it's selling out a stadium.
It sells out quicker than Joshua Dubois as well, for a fact.
Million percent.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
think they should just do the fight, regardless. I don't like of anything. Both coming off the feet, it doesn't matter because people will remember this era as Joshua and Tyson Fury being the men of the British heavyweights. Not saying because Usyk's clearly the man, but they will remember Tyson and AJ being the two dominant forces in British heavyweight boxing. So just before anyone says Usyk, I'm saying British heavyweight boxing, right? So I don't care if they're coming off losses. Let's see the fight because we've already seen what's happened with the Wilder situation where we've been robbed of the AJ Wilder fight because we left it too long. Don't let us not have this fight as well. I don't care what happens in that fight with Tyson Fury against Usyk. I still want to see AJ against Tyson Fury.